Hey, Mystic Michaela, spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, are you a people pleaser? Going to talk about that. Going to talk about how that ties into your aura color. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So are you a people pleaser?
I am 100%. I can say this without a doubt.
Yeah.
Shadow of a doubt. I am a people pleaser.
Really?
Yes. Definitely.
Well, let's put you to the test.
All right, we will.
Okay.
Let's hold off on that.
Okay.
Because I want to continue having that status for another 20 minutes. Because I know once I take this quiz, it's probably going to find out that I'm not a people pleaser.
Well, who knows? You don't know.
Well, I mean, I think I am because, I shop at stores and I give them money and I buy things.
Yes.
And I give good tips.
Yeah.
What do they call me outside? Mr. Big Man or something?
Yeah, I've heard that. Mr. Big Man thrown out a lot.
Yeah. I give the big tips.
You shake hands with people.
I shake hands with, well, not anymore, I don't. But
That's right.
Yeah,
you say hello?
Yeah. I do say hello.
Yeah.
I will give the elbow now.
You do elbow people.
I will do it in the elbow.
Yeah. I noticed that, by the way. And I've been meaning to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
I give people my undivided attention at parties and things like that.
You do?
Maybe.
We don't go to parties anymore.
Well, that's true. When will we start to go to them again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and speaking of parties.
Yes.
Oh, this is a good segue.
Great segue.
Well, let's go to last night. We did our, or you did, and I helped you a little bit. But,
of course you did.
I mean, you did the majority of it. The recovering empath workshop, which we do on Zoom.
Yes.
And it was just incredible last night.
Oh my gosh.
This was the first time, I was actually literally in tears.
Oh my God.
I don't know if we mentioned the name. I don't know if they
you say her, Heather, her
Heather.
first name. It was is a frontline worker, an ICU nurse. And I mean, because at the end I do something called the Return the Suffering meditation. And she shared how in her meditation that we do together, she gave back the suffering to she said a line out the door of people who've passed.
Right.
Basically talking about what, I guess, the grief she's left with after not being able to save everybody, which of course she couldn't have.
Of course not.
But just reminds you of what a lot of our healthcare workers have gone through this past year.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just so touching. It was the last, you've done other ones and there was other great stories all night long. And
yes.
every time we do this, there's these
I cry every time.
Yeah, you cry every time.
Yeah.
This was actually the first time I cried.
Right.
But I mean, I probably should have cried because you always do a thing where are you an empath or are you empathic?
Right.
And it always comes up that, obviously you're an empath and everyone else in the room is mostly an empath. And then there's me who's empathic.
Right.
So, I don't actually feel what the other people are feeling. But,
right. But that one you did.
But that one I did.
Yeah.
That one I definitely did. Unless you're a red blue. If you're red blue, they come through.
Yeah, a lot of those energies.
Yeah, they come through, and then for some reason I just do things that.
Yeah, what it is with
we've talked about that before.
Yeah, you pick up a lot of mediumship stuff.
Yeah, now I never
now
did.
You
before.
do.
Never did before.
Mm-hmm.
Never did before. But now they somehow can come through me. Again, I know I've talked about this before, but we have a lot of the MMSF has really been buzzing lately.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, people are starting to. Now that the pandemic's over, they're starting to form meetups in cities.
Yes, in different cities.
I think there's a group in New York City that's getting together.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, I think someone said in May they're getting together.
Yeah, South Florida, invite us.
Yeah, South Florida. Yeah, we're available.
Yeah,
we don't have much on our plate here. We don't do much, so invite us. And then of course we're going to do our huge one. We did this one right before the pandemic hit.
Thank God.
Last
It's
year,
all we
2
had,
years ago.
and then the pandemic came.
I mean, and we've all been clinging to that memory of how incredible it was. So we're definitely going to do it again this year. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking every day. This is so funny. I was actually thinking about it on the way to dropping the kids off.
Yeah.
And I drove right past the school.
That's
how much it was
so
on my mind
funny.
today.
Did they all yell at you?
No, none of them yelled at me.
They didn't even notice?
They didn't even notice.
That is so funny. Because
they're all buried in their phone.
We do a carpool. Scott does a carpool in the morning for a bunch of kids.
And I'm apologizing. I'm guys, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
They're
sorry.
like, what?
They're like, huh?
It's too early.
Yeah.
It's too early for
But
them.
anyway, so I'm thinking
really funny.
For this gathering, either November or possibly January. So January 20.
It's before the holidays or
after the holidays. I mean, I really want November. I'm pushing now I'm thinking November now.
You're November?
Yeah, that's going in my head. And
yeah. It's nice down here in November too.
Oh yeah,
it's still really warm.
So,
yeah.
But and the other thing is the group, and I put a post up about this on the Facebook page. They really behind the scenes are taking care of each other.
Oh my God! It's a family.
It's a family. Like donations come in.
Yeah.
They want to do it anonymously.
Yeah.
I've had people donate their readings to other people. Like, take my slot, give it to someone else, because the wait list is so long. They're giving their slots. Whatever
I know people have been helping each other out financially. People have been helping each other out. Call me. I have advice for you.
Right.
Does anybody know about this? Yes. DM me. Like, their own skills and talents and professional abilities. They're lending to each other. It's a true family.
Yeah.
And this is on the Facebook page, by the way.
We learned yesterday there's a group of pinks that have all gotten together. Pink
my gosh, I didn't know about that.
We didn't even know about
there's
that.
Like a there's like a pink message crew.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I'll tell you,
to be a fly on the wall.
To be a fly on the wall. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Invite us to that too. And I'll tell you, so, you think sometimes when you make a donation, you got to donate $1,000 or you got to donate whatever, $5,000, a big amount. But I'll tell you, the average donation is probably around $11.11. Mm-hmm. And for $11.11, you can change somebody's life.
You're saying just like to an organization or somebody that you care about, just giving them a little bit means more than you think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I we get a lot of emails, and I wanted to read this one. I'll just say the first name. And I think it's a long email, but it touches the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay, go ahead, read it. So so we got this email from, what's her name?
Okay, this email's from Nicole. And Nicole, I will email you to tell you that this is going to be on. Okay. Dear Mystic Michaela and Scott, I've thought about writing this email many times, and I even wrote it out a few times, but was too embarrassed to send it. So if you're reading this, I actually did it. Yay. All right. That's the first step. First, I just want to say how grateful I am to you and your podcast. You have led me down the journey to becoming my authentic self, and although it is a continuous, difficult one at times, it has been amazing. You have helped me through a lot of the struggles of my life. I may even go as far as saying that you have saved my life in some ways.
Oh my God.
So thank you from the bottom of my soul. That part was obviously for you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah,
that's my go-to is trying to make a joke on these kind of things. All right. Now, enough sappiness. I want to tell you more of my story and why I wanted to reach out. If you made it this far in reading, okay, we have. And so has the thousands of people listening. I have been a fan of yours ever since I've heard you on the Caitlin Bristow podcast. Caitlin Bristow podcast?
Yes.
I'm also a super fan of hers, and I think it comes down to how amazing she is at manifesting her dreams, which is sort of the theme of my story. When I heard you had a podcast, I started listening right away and was blown away. I even joined the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family on Facebook and loved every part of the community on there. All right, so she found you through when you were on Caitlin's. Mm-hmm. In 2020, I started a fundraiser to raise money for International Polar Bear Day, which is February 27th, which is actually
that's our daughter's birthday.
Brianna's birthday. Mm-hmm. Backstory. I have loved polar bears for as long as I can remember. I'm obsessed, to put it lightly. Let's just say I've been manifesting them into my life for a long time. I was so proud that I met my fundraising goal that I wanted to humbly brag on the Facebook page.
Aww. Okay. Are you getting emotional?
Am I allowed to take a sip of water here? I don't want to get any more death threats.
Do you want me to pause it?
No, please. All right. Well, to my shock, and probably my second biggest fangirl moment of my life, Scott, you read my post and found my fundraiser and donated me $11.11. Okay, I guess I did that.
You probably even forgot that you did it.
Do
you remember?
I just thought it was a great cause, and she wrote it so nicely.
Excited.
And I'm like, I'm going to help her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When I say, just like you said, just 11. Yeah, 11. Yeah.
Just $11.11. Right. When I say I lost my mind because I was so excited, I mean it. I called my mom hysterically crying.
Oh.
She thought I was kidnapped. Until I was able to get out and tell her what actually happened. And she wasn't scared anymore. Sorry, Mom. Anyway, fast forward to January 2020 when I secured my dream job. That is right. I now work with polar bears up close and personal.
Stop it. That's some amazing manifesting.
I don't even think Caitlin Bristow can do that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you just crushed Caitlin Bristow.
It's not a competition, but that's great.
You know, my red makes it a competition.
You're making it a competition.
I mean,
Caitlin would like clap for her so hard.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Mirror ball, polar bears. Mirror ball, polar bears.
Stop. Right. She's the nicest person, and she'd never, ever compete with that.
Of course. Polar bears better. All right. I was working in a cornfield prior to this, so this was a major career change for me. Every day I worked
in a cornfield?
She was working in the cornfield, and then she got the job, her dream job with the polar bears.
Cool.
Every day I work with these 3 amazing bears at the, I'm going to pronounce this wrong.
Let me do it.
Cochrane, Cochrane.
Cochrane or Cotran or Cochrane.
Polar bear habitat in northern Ontario. Their names are, I'm not going to pronounce it.
They're, native names, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and the last one's Henry.
There's something native, Henry. Because you don't want to mess up it's probably Inuit names.
Okay. I just wanted to share my story with you because I truly believe without you both, Mr. Michaela for teaching me how to live authentically, and Scott for supporting me without even knowing me is part of the reason I ended up where I am today.
Wow. Well, I don't even feel worthy of that, accreditation, at all. Yeah. But I'm just so happy for her that she's working.
Yeah.
What's interesting, too, and I think I say this in my empath manifestation episode, but just if I didn't, here it is again, or not, or for the first time. When you take part in something, you actually jump on its vibration. So her kind of raising money for Polar Bear, Awareness Day or whatever that was called, that's like you jumping on that high vibration. And when you do that, it kind of helps you streamline right to your goals. So the same thing, if you want something for yourself, try to look at the greater good and where that's supported and lend your energy to it, because that vibration will come at you. And she probably that wasn't for her. That was a very selfless thing to put up that for her, on her social media. She wasn't planning, I'm going to do this so that this happens. It's just, that's how the universe works. She lent her energy to that, and it jumped her right on that train. Yeah. That's amazing. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And
again, maybe we can bombard them with 1111s and
get
some money for
really
those polar bears.
Yeah.
But, just something like that. So little, you don't even think about it. Yeah. It could really help somebody. So, and that's what's going on throughout our entire group right now.
Yeah, because I think sometimes it's just the thought, when somebody needs something and you're like, how can I listen to you? Or how can I just be generous with my heart? Or just even if it's a little bit of money, it's very meaningful to people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we definitely encourage you.
I love our family.
Yeah, definitely encourage you to join the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, we have a couple ads.
Yes.
And then I'm going to take that quiz.
And then you're going to take the People Pleaser quiz, and everybody else is going to take it too.
Yes.
I'm so excited that Skillshare is a sponsor of the podcast today. I love learning new things, getting a new perspective, and Skillshare is the platform in which to do that. They are an online learning community that offers membership with meaning. There's tons to explore, real projects to create, and the support of fellow creatives. Basically, Skillshare empowers you to accomplish real growth. Brianna, my eldest, and I are trying this class. It's called Cookie Decorating for Beginners. Create incredible edible art with Lori Shannon. She's an icing artist, a baker, and a YouTuber. And you know what? We're doing our best, but we're learning a lot. It's a lot of fun. The classes are very short, little segments, very manageable. You really change your perspective. We're having fun. We're doing something that we wouldn't have been able to do yesterday. These are classes designed for real life. These are skills I'm going to use forever. This is knowledge that just will never go away, and the experiences that go with it are meaningful to me. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops. Listen, an annual subscription is less than $10 a month, and you got to check it out. Just the countless number of things you can do on there. But get this, okay? Thank you, Skillshare, because you can explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/KYA and get a free trial of premium membership. You can go check it out. You can go take a couple classes. You can go see what it's all about. That's Skillshare.com/KYA and get that free trial of premium membership, and let me know what classes you took, because there are so many to choose from. Upstart is another sponsor of this podcast today. You know, when it comes to paying off debt, it can often feel like an uphill battle. High interest rates resulting in minimum monthly payments keeps you in an endless cycle of debt. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. You don't have that peace of mind that you need. But listen, Upstart can help you get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Unlike other lenders, Upstart looks at more than just your credit score, like your income and employment history. This means they can offer smarter rates with trusted partners. With a 5-minute online rate check, just 5 minutes, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. So what to do? Go to upstart.com/KYA to find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments. That's upstart.com/KYA. Please don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/KYA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey.
All right, so let's take this quiz. We're going to find out if you're a people pleaser, and it's on BuzzFeed. It's a BuzzFeed quiz, and everybody at home can take it too.
All right.
All right. So, question 1.
I'm ready.
Now, usually you don't like multiple choice questions because you're like, I do neither of these, but you have to pick one. All right?
Have to pick one.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, you're at a party, and you've somehow found yourself talking to the most boring people there. What do you do?
Okay.
All right. 1, announce that you're going to get another drink and then never return. Drag one of your friends into the conversation in an attempt to liven it up, or talk to the boring people all night because you don't want to offend them by leaving.
Okay, so definitely not the third one.
Yes.
That one's like, I cross that one right out.
Yeah.
I'm leaning to, does it have to be exactly the first one? I mean,
it's the first one. That's you. You wouldn't even, because you wouldn't even announce you're having another, you just leave. You just walk away.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I wouldn't even announce that I'm getting something.
Right.
I would just be like, all of a sudden, mid-sentence, you would not find me there.
I know.
Yeah.
And then they find me and they're like, why did your husband just walk away while I was talking to him? And then I sit there the rest of the night and talk to them.
Right. Okay, so you'd pick 3.
Yeah,
the third one.
I'm doing this quiz for you.
Okay.
I don't know if there are results, but I'm going to just make this for you. Okay,
thank you.
Question 2. You've had an exhausting week at work with Mystic Michaela, and you want to spend Saturday watching TV in bed. Your friend is moving houses and asks you to help. What do you do?
Okay.
1, tell your friend the truth. You're exhausted and need a day to relax.
Okay.
2, compromise by offering to help for a couple hours in the afternoon. 3, find yourself organizing her entire house move.
All right. Well, the choice would be, I'd probably just complain to you why they can't just hire a mover.
Yes, that's exactly what you do.
So I'd be like, why is this my problem? You know, what do they want from me?
Yeah, you probably ask them a lot of questions too. Like, why didn't you hire a mover? Where's your other friend today?
Yeah. It's not like, you're moving out of your dorm room in college.
This isn't real.
Okay.
just pick one.
All right, so I think it was the first one, right?
Would you tell they're too exhausted? I feel like
I wouldn't even tell. No, I wouldn't make an excuse.
I feel like you would offer to help when you could help. Because I've seen you do that.
All right.
Like, because people have asked us to move, and you do it when it's convenient for you.
All right, if it was convenient for me.
I think you're too. You'd compromise by offering to help a couple hours in the afternoon, which for you is just like you'd tell them when you're coming over.
Right. And I'd tell them what kind of pizza I like.
Yeah.
And things like that.
What is it? How come nobody asks us to help them move anymore? Are we out of that age bracket?
We're either
it used to be like every weekend.
Oh, I know.
Remember?
I think we aged out of that one.
We aged out of that one. Everybody, you age out of that. People stop asking you.
Yeah. Or it could be that they know that I break things.
No.
Yeah, because like the time I broke that fish tank with all the fish in it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen, people.
Oh, okay. I got nervous. I was like, I thought you were talking about that guy that had all the fish when you helped him move. I thought that was a plausible thing.
Yeah, it was.
Because we had a friend who was like obsessed with his fish.
I know. I didn't want to get 100 DMs from Empath saying, what happened to the fish?
Yeah, well, I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, give me the next one.
Question 3. You're at a restaurant with a friend and you've eaten too much. You're full, but your friend wants to split a dessert. What do you do? Tell her you're full, but say that she should go ahead and order a dessert. Warn her that you're full, but say you'll have a bite of whatever she orders. agree to split dessert even though you don't really want it?
Probably the first one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tell. Yeah, I'm like, I'm full. I'm just gonna get a coffee. You get the dessert, and
that's a pleaser thing, though. Like,
is that a pleaser thing?
Yeah, for not you, but like for me, like for I think a lot of us, like we don't. This is terrible. Like, let's say you're with somebody, you don't want to look like you're being judgmental by eating healthy when they're not. Like, so you'll eat crappy because they're eating crappy because you don't. Isn't that awful? Or even the opposite, like they're eating healthy, but you don't want to feel like bad by eating bad in front of, like food is a weird people pleaser thing.
Okay.
I've been really working on that.
For me, I'm just like, hey, this is what I order. Would you order? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I know. You don't sound much like a people pleaser so far. So.
What? I'm definitely a people pleaser.
Question 4.
Okay.
Your housemate hasn't done her dishes and you need to use the kitchen. So your housemate hasn't done her dishes and you need to use the kitchen. What do you do?
Okay.
Tell your housemate, what language is this? English? Like, are they like housemates? Tell your housemate to clean up so that you can start cooking. Hey, clean up. I got to start cooking. Tell your housemate that you'd like to use the kitchen and offer to help her clean up. Clean the dishes yourself. You don't want to cause a fuss.
Okay, so.
I don't think you do any of these.
Is this housemate late on the rent?
Oh.
Does that matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, this happened to you.
Yeah.
Okay. This is funny. You've lived with 5 other guys. You lived with 4 other guys before.
Yeah.
What did you do if the kitchen was messy and you needed to use it?
I would do takeout. I don't think I ever used the kitchen.
Yeah, I know. So this is hard.
I'll go with 1. The first
Tell
one.
your housemate to clean up so you can start cooking.
Yeah, but I'm not going to cook anyway, so.
Like, what would you do if, like, it was their turn to take out the trash or whatever, or all their trash was in the trash? Would you just take it out for them?
No.
Or would you tell them, hey, clean out your trash?
I'm going to clean out your trash.
Okay, that's, the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny. You actually had a predicament like that. Because I remember, like, one of your roommates, this is when you were, like, 24 and living with 4 other guys and working at Domino's, said that you were a very rude housemate.
Hey.
Because you weren't clean.
Well.
And I told you that he said it, and you're like, well, he's always late on the rent. At least I'm not late on the rent.
I mean, look, I can go with, like, first of all, I don't think any of them listen to this podcast.
No.
But I could say things about them, that would just blow this whole thing up.
You're just like, the things I've seen living with 4 other men.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen things so disturbing. That, I know I can't see things in my mind. I don't have that. But I know a lot of the people that listen, like, can actually see the visuals. I can make things that you can visualize.
They must be burned in your image, though. There must be some things are burned in there, right? Yeah.
I mean, are we going there?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Because I know what you're about to say, and that was very disturbing.
Okay. Because
Your colleague asks you to help them with something at work, but you really don't have time. What do you do?
Okay, so this would be you?
Yeah. I'm like, Scott, can you help me?
Okay.
But you don't have time. What do you do?
All right.
Tell her you'd love to help, but you're really busy right now.
Yes.
Help her work out how to tackle her problem, but then get on with your own work after. Drop everything to help her. You can always stay late to get your own work done.
Well, I do like, here's the thing. I do like to solve problems for people.
Okay.
I will give people advice on that. Probably not good advice, but I will try to come up with a solution. Like that's a big thing for me. Like, and living with 3 women, I come up with a lot of solutions. Like, and especially Bree, being a, whatever you call it, preteen or teen, whatever. But, I try to come up with a solution for you. And so I don't know if that's a or B answer there. So, like, I usually don't, like, just brush you. I mean, sometimes I do.
Okay, so when you were working at the school.
Oh.
And somebody's like, hey, can you help me, I don't know, organize this field day?
No.
Now it's someone you like. Hey, can you help me organize this field day?
At school?
Yeah.
Maybe. If I can leave right after the bell rings at the end of the day. Like if it doesn't encroach on my time.
I'm going to say 2 for you.
2?
Well,
it's like
I'll give you that one.
It's like a 1 or 2. All
right.
I mean, yeah.
Next one.
Okay.
You're planning a night out with your friends and someone needs to volunteer to be the designated driver. What do you do?
Okay.
Say that it's not your turn, as you were the driver last time. Promise to drive next time if someone else does it this time. Somehow end up driving everyone to their individual houses at the end of the night.
Okay, definitely not the third one. I'm okay with being the designated driver here and there. So,
well, that's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one?
Yeah.
No, that's like taking everybody home. Isn't there like when I'll do it this time, you do it next time thing?
That's the first one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, that's the last one.
Oh, okay.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've always been the driver.
Yeah.
You don't like other people to drive you anyways.
Right. I don't mind being the designated driver. I'll have a drink or two, and that's okay with me.
Okay. You have a really exciting date planned for Saturday night, but your sister has asked you to babysit. What do? Apologize to your sister and explain that you've been looking forward to this date for ages. Rearrange the date and babysit. Your sister deserves a night off. Agree to babysit and give up the idea of going on that date at all. You know your sister will call you next week, too.
All right. I think at this point, I'm just not a people pleaser. Is that what we're kind of getting at?
Yeah. I think that's just, no.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more of these
there
are.
I think we're okay.
But I think that it's fair to say you're not the people pleaser that you thought you were at the beginning of this.
Yeah, at the beginning I thought I was, and now I realize I'm not.
It's okay.
I mean, one of my things I always say, and I've said it before on the podcast, is it's okay if certain people don't like you. I feel you're actually doing a good thing if some people don't like you, because if they did like you, you'd be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's okay that not everybody likes you.
Yeah.
Especially if they're a bad person. Why would you want that person to like you? That wouldn't even make any sense. That would be a stain on your character.
Well, you can't please everybody.
You can't
but
please
it's hard
everybody.
because pleasers feel that one. We were actually talking about this yesterday because, I read this thing about how our brains are wired to pay more attention to the negative than to the positive. So you can hear like 1,000 great things about you, but if you hear or feel one bad thing about you, it's going to stand out the more because our brains are wired to pay more attention to negativity than positivity. I think that makes sense because for survival purposes, as like animals or whatever, you're supposed to really pay attention to danger the most. But it's funny because like we perceive someone not liking us as danger when you're a people pleaser. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like that's how strong it is in us. We think that it's the same thing as like a wildfire coming at us or a saber-toothed tiger or something. It's like so-and-so didn't like that I said no to her PTA meeting or whatever, It feels the same. That's why we're so affected by it.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is most of the people listening to this probably are people pleasers.
I would say that a lot of them are.
So
probably.
a lot of people are going to resonate with this.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm probably in the minority for people listening to this show.
All right.
But
yeah.
All right. I could live with that, so I'm not a people pleaser.
Okay.
All right. So speaking of people pleasing, we want to talk about Dipsea. Dipsea is one of our sponsors. And, I do a little, side work for them, as most of you know. And basically, they told me, I'm there to turn people off when they turn people on. And basically what they want from me is they want me to put some innuendos into it. So like that it doesn't, like it turns them off, but then they secretly are turned on. So the one I'm going to do today will be about that.
Okay. Everyone needs an escape, but those can be hard to come by right now. Enter Dipsea. Let yourself get lost in a world where good things happen and where your pleasure is the only priority.
Today I'll be doing the grocery store checkout.
Dipsea is an audio app full of short, sexy stories designed to turn you on.
Michael, the clerk, said, I see you like eggplant. Are you having it for dinner?
Each Dipsea audio story features characters that feel like real people and immersive scenarios, so you feel like you're right there.
Yes, I love eggplant. I also enjoy corn on the cob.
Listen to stories about hooking up with your hometown crush you've never made a move on, or that coworker you've always had a little thing for, or maybe a story that puts you in bed with someone who's telling you exactly what they'd like to do to you.
The clerk then said, Are you a hot dog guy? Bun or no bun?
They release new content every week, so there's always more to explore, no matter who you're into or what turns you on.
Definitely bun, but definitely no mayonnaise.
Ew. And if you need to wind down, Dipsea also has wellness sessions, sensual bedtime stories, and soundscapes to help you relax before you drift off.
You're all bagged up and ready to go.
For listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/KYA. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to Dipsea, DIPSEA, stories.com/KYA.
All right. I hope I pleased the Dipsea people.
Dipseastories.com/KYA.
All right. So we already learned that I'm not a people pleaser, but I'm pretty sure that you are a people pleaser. So let's hear what you have to say.
Let's do it. I wanted to talk about this today because it's something that is a true affliction for me. And I think it's also something that is such an affliction that I don't even I live with it, and I don't even realize it half the time, which is real bad. That's real bad when it starts to become ingrained in you. And that's my people pleasing issue. And I think I am talking to a lot of you. I think I'm speaking to many of you here when you're like, oh yeah, me too. And it's hard when you're a people pleaser because people just start, oh, you're the nice one. You're nice. Oh, ask her. She'll do it. She's nice. And it starts to become ingrained in your identity. And then all of a sudden you start to feel like it's not a choice anymore. Okay, that people pleasing is now who you are. And if you don't do it, you're going to confuse everybody. And so it becomes almost like this feeling of suffocation or forced or trapped into this identity of the nice one. And right there, you telling somebody yes to everything or no to everything has nothing to do with who you actually are as a person, whether you're nice or not. Because that's under the assumption that what other people feel about you, other people's perceptions, how other people interpret you is reality. So when you look up kind of the research for people pleasers, psychology and stuff like that, and again, I'm not a professional at all. This is just my own experience that I like to talk about on this podcast. They say that it has to do with some sort of maltreatment as a child. It has to do something with how you were programmed in your upbringing. There was a reinforcement of you being good and lovable if you were a pleaser to someone else. And it's something that is very ingrained and therefore extremely hard, if not impossible, to break as you grow into adulthood. And it finds its way into every relationship, every work situation. It's just this awful habit of mind where you feel like you don't have a choice other than to be a pleaser or nice. And right there, that's where we're walking up to today, and we're taking a close look at that. And because we have to separate, as all things in here, what is our programming versus who are we? And the line distinguishing what other people feel about you versus your own interpretation of self, because those are two different things. And I think when you're a people pleaser, you feel like truth lies outside of you, and that you find, and finally, there's a big issue with you only feeling as though you are who other people say you are, that you're not who you interpret yourself to be, that you define yourself by other people's interpretations or definitions of you. And that's the issue. I'm going to take this one step further, because when I was kind of deep diving on people pleasing and trying to understand it, as I always do, I took it through the aura filter. And I talked about this on the Aura Kids episode very briefly when I was talking about blue and indigo aura children. They are pleasers. They come to you that way, all packaged up. They're pleaser little babies. And if you have a pleaser kid, you know that they're the ones getting kind of shoved around at the playground. And they're like, okay. And they come back and you're like, where's your truck that you brought? Oh, that kid took it. Oh my gosh, you just got pushed around by somebody, and you know deep down that they felt like that's what they had to do to fit in. And that hurts, because maybe you feel like that too. And it's not a truck, it's like the job opportunity, or you're the one making all the lesson plan notes. I'm talking about my own life as a teacher. Or you're the one, you were the one sharing your homework with everyone in study hall in 7th grade, because what happens is when you're a people pleaser, people take advantage of you. Oh, you're a target. You're such a target. But if you're a blue or an indigo, or, really when you're an empath, what happens is you do feel other people's feelings as your own, okay? That's your sixth sense. And it is hard to distinguish it from your own self. So if you can make somebody else happy by pleasing them, you borrow it. You borrow that feeling for a little bit. And that's why when we have kids like that, we have to say, listen, okay, you're a pleaser. You like other people to feel good. I get it. We have to choose the right people to make feel good. And right now in your adult life, I'm telling you, you like to make other people feel good. I get it. But you have to choose the right people to make feel good. Not willy-nilly everyone. All over the place. And I'm talking to myself too, okay? There's no need to please everybody. We have to kind of condense it down to where it's mutual. All right. So let's talk about signs of being a people pleaser, and then we're going to go into how to fix it. I mean, but like I said, as most things on here, this is part of your spiritual awakening. This is part of your journey. This is part of your ego getting smushed into the ground and dealing with some very vulnerable truths about yourself, because your ego will pop up and want you to believe that you have to do these things or your life's going to fall apart. You have to keep pleasing people, otherwise you're not going to survive. So know that, like, when we go through all this stuff, that your ego's working extra hard right now to be like, hey, wait a second. No. You can't not do that. You can't. All right. Signs you're a people pleaser. 1, again, you carry investment in how other people feel about you. No, you aren't in charge of other people's happiness. But man, you're going to feel it. If they're disappointed in you, you feel that. Just like smelling. I say this all the time. Highly sensitive people, blues, indigos, turquoises. Turquoises they get it, but they can, I don't know. Every time I talk about turquoises, I feel like it confuses people more. But turquoises, they mirror it back a little bit so they can kind of become it. And then purples can feel it too, but then they want to kind of push buttons a little bit. Like, I'm just going to push back on that. So like purples, they'll feel it, but then they kind of want to be like, nah, let's see how I can piss you off a little bit. So we have more hope for them. But like blues and indigos, yeah, you're going to feel other people's feelings about you and therefore responsible for it. It's not going away. Differentiation is the key. But what is that? Like, why do you always carry the weight of other people's interpretations of you heavier than your own? Mix of programming, because you were programmed to be the people pleaser. That's how you felt worth. That's how you felt like you could fit in. That has worked for you. There are a lot of places that did work for you. Think about it. Like, that probably got you through some real tough times in life, that you were the likable one. But that's no way to live permanently. Yeah, if you're in some sort of horrific, I feel like, I always go extreme. Like, if you're in some sort of life or death situation, you can get likable real quick. If your life depends on being likable or not, like, you could, but you don't have to live like that right now. Okay. Your ego is going to trick you into thinking everything's life or death, that if work, you tell someone like, no, I can't cover your shift. Like, you'll survive. It's okay. It's not the zombie apocalypse. It's going to be okay. I used to watch The Walking Dead, and I stopped because it just got, in my opinion, kind of dumb. But I always thought, like, I could survive this by being a people pleaser. I feel like that would be because I can't do anything else. Like, I'm really bad at, like, killing things or, like, surviving off the land or just being tough in general. But I feel like I could, like, buddy up with somebody and be, like, a really good buddy to them and please them, and then they'd protect me. The people pleasing, it has its attributes, but it's just but you're not living in that. You're not living in The Walking Dead. Like, you're okay. I digress. Another sign, you agree with everyone. Okay. You can actually go against your own values so as to fit in because you don't want to be disliked. My friend, this is so funny. She, we just had a very difficult, and it's still ongoing, but I feel like it did chill out a little bit, political situation in our country where there's a lot of, I don't know, division. And my friend found herself surrounded by a lot of people on the opposite side. And they were all like chanting things and like, yeah, okay. And then she felt really nervous. And then they were all just like, and so she started going along with it while she was there. And then she admitted this to me, like almost like a confessional, like, and I said it and I agreed and I made friends with the people and I didn't know what else to do. And it's just, and it's funny because I guess, like, situationally, she felt like she had to do that to fit in, but it's not funny because she truly sat there and felt like she betrayed herself. She really did. And I wonder how many of us have gone through that, like, we just agree with something because we don't want to go through the conflict of saying, hey, I'm going to agree to disagree with you, or that's not how I see things at all, actually, and this is why. Sometimes you don't want to have that conversation. Sometimes you don't feel safe having that conversation. Sometimes you just don't want to go there because it's too stressful in your tummy, to like tell somebody like, no, I don't agree with that at all, and you'll avoid it completely. But there's a problem. The second you agree instead, the second you're like, yeah, me too, like my friend, in that moment, like, yeah, go so-and-so, that's great. And the second you agree with it, you betray yourself. You betray your values. You betray everything you hold dear. You betray your soul, and it sticks with you. And you feel that wound that you didn't listen to yourself, that you compromised yourself. So getting into the habit of noticing where it'd be easier to agree in that moment versus, try to think like, how am I going to feel in a couple days from now after I agree with this person? I'm going to feel really crappy about myself. And it's just something to catch in this habit of mind. Another sign is you apologize all the time. You apologize oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I started in the grocery store. This is where actually I started. I had this come to Jesus light bulb aha moment. And I realized every time I just accidentally turned a corner and somebody was, in front of you, like what happens in a busy grocery store, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And I was like, stop saying sorry. Like it just hit me in the grocery store one day. And now I say, excuse me. Like, excuse me. I'm trying to teach the kids to say, excuse me, instead of I'm sorry. You say you're sorry if you did something wrong. Okay, your physical presence isn't wrong. You just being somewhere, it's not wrong. Or you just, sometimes the things you're apologizing for aren't worthy of apologizing. It's another betrayal, and it's a way to make yourself submissive to another person, and that's not good. Because a lot of times with people pleasers, what happens is you get manipulated. People smell that out. People come for you because they know you, and this is my next one, are dependent on praise. You feed off of it. You need validation. So that enter narcissists, enter the toxic people, enter the low vibe people. They're coming for you now. And when you can cut off your need for other people's praise as your fuel, you gain a lot of power back. So stop, and this is something that I have been working on, and it's helped me so much, and it's really hard, and this is hard, okay, and it's going to sound a little cold, but you have to get to the point where if somebody says something good about you, or if something says something bad about you, it feels the same. So if somebody says to you, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you say thank you, and if somebody says, wow, you suck, you say, thank you. Okay. Because it's going to make it feel the same. Make it both things not necessary for you. Now, my husband, Scott, has a tip. And his is that consider the source. So, for example, if one of my clients says to me something positive, I take that to heart and it does mean something to me. If one of my clients would say something, hey, could you change this or do this? I take that to heart because you guys, I trust you and I love you and you're part of my spiritual family. So, or my husband says it or my kids say it or a family member says it, like, okay, wait a second, or a friend says it. I'm listening to you. Now I take it to heart. I take your praise to heart and I take your constructive criticisms to heart. I'll take that to heart. But if it's somebody you don't know or it's somebody that's kind of on the fringe of your life, consider the source, okay? For both things, praise and not praise. Consider it as just noise and make it mean nothing to you. Now you don't depend on it. Another thing is, you can't shake it if someone's angry with you, and again, this just opens yourself up for manipulation. You can't shake it if somebody is displeased with you. It's, oh my gosh, you find yourself, let me just talk to them again. Let me email them again. Let me call them again. You get frantic. Please, I have to fix it. Again, you have to, even if this is somebody that you have a good relationship with, it's something that you kind of need to give space to, give time to, and come back to in a little bit. That feeling in yourself of discord is something that has to be addressed when you're a people pleaser, because it's a lot of a feeling of imbalance in yourself when you know other people aren't approving you. And the issue there is to fix it isn't really other people now approving you. That's the quick fix. That's the old way to fix it. The real way to start fixing it is sitting with it. Okay, I feel like I'm in discord. I'm having major anxiety. I'm all these things. Let me sit with this. Let me write about it. Let me journal about it. Let me meditate. Let me do something. Let me take a nature walk. Let me work out. Something. Another people pleaser symptom is you can't say no to anything. I went to therapy for this, okay? Like, I went to therapy for this. My poor therapist, I still work on this with my therapist, but my old therapist, long time ago, she had to give me, like, lines. And this is when I was teaching. Because, like, I worked on a team. Like, I don't know if they still do this, but the way I used to work, like, I was on a team. So it was like I was the Spanish teacher, and then there's a math teacher and an English teacher, and, the social studies and all that. And my team was always kind of like, one person on my team, I don't know, she was like one of those, like, she was a mess. Like, she couldn't handle her own work, so it became other people's problems. And then, so she would always be like, oh, I didn't get to this, could you do this? Or I didn't get to this, could you do that? Or I didn't get to, and it was all the time. And I was in grad school full time, like, I was busy, so it was like, I was always like, yes, because I could never say no. I'm like, yes. So my therapist was like, she gave me lines like, let me get back to you on that, was a line. And that was good. And then if they have the nerve to come again, like, did you figure out if you could do it or not? Be like, you know what? Let me get back. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Let me get back to you on that. And then, like, eventually, like, if you had to have the conversation of actually no, it's just be like, I don't have time for that right now. Or I don't know enough about that to complete it. And then if they start kind of asking you questions like, well, this is funny. If they start asking you like, well, you don't know how to do it. Well, let me teach you how to do it. It's like, well, you seem to know more about it than I could. So I'm just going to let you handle this one. And then, so it's just kind of like really uncomfortable. I even get sweaty talking about it to this day, but coming up with pre-written, pre-memorized lines for people. So instead of like the knee-jerk, yes, it's the knee-jerk, let me get back to you on that, like that. You feed off others' praise, like I said. Oh, you'll avoid conflict at any cost. Any cost. That means that if it's between having a tough conversation with a friend or like cutting them out of your life, you'll choose the latter. So, like, how many of you have just completely avoided someone the rest of your life because you're like, it's just not going to work out between the two of us. I have to have this uncomfortable conversation, so it's over. It's over. Can't do it. Or it's just something that you'll just avoid completely. And that's another thing that therapy can help and whatnot, depending on the situation. Finally, when your feelings are hurt, you don't say anything. And you might not even realize it till later. I noticed with myself and a lot of empaths, who are people pleasers. It might take you a couple days to be like, ooh, that really hurt my feelings the way she said that. Or like, and that really hurt me. And you can't say it in the moment, but several days later when your energy has separated from theirs, and now all of a sudden you're feeling yourself now again, and you're feeling your true thoughts and feelings, which other people have the luxury of feeling in their exact moment, by the way. It's just that you might not be able to do that. Like other people, if somebody says something mean to them, in their moment, they're so solidified in who they are that they're like, I don't like that, or take that back, or excuse me, like that. And if you're a people pleaser, you're like, yeah, ha, 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 that's so funny. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go along with it. Everything you just said, okay. And then like 3-4 days later, you're like, ooh, that really hurt me. Oh, that's like another sign. Okay, how to fix it. All right, so like I said, this isn't some sort of easy fix. We're just scraping some surface stuff here. We're working on one thing at a time. I feel like even if you work on 10% of your life, like 10% of this stuff you work, your life's going to get 10% better. And that's a lot, so just don't get overwhelmed by all of this. Just be like, what's one thing I can kind of work on or commit to fixing? And I'll tell you, the biggest thing you can do overall is start to really observe yourself before you start speaking. So try to do this thing. This is what I do personally. I'll take myself out of a situation and I'm still there, and they're talking to me and I'm listening. But then there's this like other part of me. And I wonder if the rest of you can do this, because this is like a me thing sometimes. And like, I'll take myself out of it and I'll pretend like I'm watching myself in a movie. And I'll hear them and I'll see myself. And then I'm able to better control what comes out of my mouth. I'm able to better circumnavigate like the conversation so that I don't betray myself by saying yes to something or agreeing something I don't agree with, or thinking, okay, in 3 days, how are you going to feel about this? Like all that kind of observational, kind of removed energy. I've had to work on this a lot. So that's just an overall tip before I get into other stuff. But another way to fix it is not to overcommit, all right? So people pleasing has a dark side to it, because when you do too much for others, they all of a sudden, they don't feel no need to do a thing for you. So it can leave you sometimes with friends, but also feeling isolated, because all of a sudden, like, you're not getting offers for help. Like, you're not getting birthday gifts. Like, you're not getting invited out to lunch. Like, you don't get anything because they're just so used to you being cool and chill and not needing anything and always worrying about them that there's no room left for them to do it for you. And also, you've probably attracted people who are super more into a relationship like this than a mutual one. So when you overcommit, you don't leave room for them to show you what they can do for you. So hold back a little, but without expectation. Don't have expectations. When you hold back a little bit, don't expect, you know what, it's my birthday coming up. I'm going to see if they make some sort of plan for me to hang out or whatever, but I'm not going to expect it. I'm not going to. And see what happens. And because, and listen, everybody's going through stuff. So I'm not saying like be hard on your friends or like really hold them to some sort of standard. I'm just saying like be gently observational about it. Because some people will step up to the table and some people will give back. And honestly though, a lot of them may disappear. And that's okay. You know, that's okay, because it's going to open you up as you change for different people to show up. The ones who are going to be more mutual, because you're ready for that. You're ready for that. And when you aren't a people pleaser, the ones who need one are going to go away now. Another thing, self-awareness. Like that's what I was saying. Take yourself out of yourself. Self-awareness. It's a habit of mind. It's hard. And it's an internal type of thing. It gets easier all of a sudden. But then what happens is inevitably you're going to level up. So you're going to get really good at like, okay, I learned how to deal with my friend. She's always, she drinks too much when we're out, and I don't like going out with her anymore because one, I end up taking care of her and she expects me to, or two, I start drinking too much too when I'm with her. Otherwise she'll feel like she's being judged. So I do it too. So maybe you've gotten to that point. You're like, oh, I had a talk with her. I'm like, listen, that's not my jam. I'm more of a Netflix stay-at-home kind of girl tonight. I don't really feel like going out. Okay, fine. Set a boundary, whatever. But then what happens is Spirit's going to level you up. They're going to bring you more challenging situations. And, it's just that's the thing. So when you're self-aware, notice that it'll get easier, but then you're going to get into, I don't know, like phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and they start sending you other stuff that's like more difficult to deal with. And that's honestly, it's a challenge, but it's also something that's an indication that you've gotten stronger. It's kind of like at the gym when all right, 5 pounds, it's too easy. Okay, well, now it's time to go to 8 pounds. It's like, ooh, I don't like this. This is hard. Well, that's your spiritual awakening. So get used to it. But seriously, that's what's going to happen. The more self-aware you are, the better at it you get, and then the more challenges will come. And that is just part of soul growth, and that's okay. Know that you've been living and here's another thing. You have to know that you've been living in the fear your entire life of other people's disapproval. And know that sick feeling in your stomach, it's probably not going away. And honestly, it's a result of like whatever trauma or maltreatment you endured to become this people pleaser. And it's also from those empath abilities. You're going to feel other people's stuff linking up to it, but it's not something that's going to control you anymore. You have to befriend it. I would befriend that anxiety of people not liking you. Oop, there it is. And you pat it on its little head. That's what I always say. You're like, okay, little anxiety fear, because I'm not people pleasing. I understand who you are, and it's loud, and you just look at it, and you're like, I see you. And you tell it, go sit in the back of the bus because I'm driving, not you. And it's just not going to control you anymore. You're going to be fighting a lifetime war with that feeling. And it's something that you may never even win the war with. Honestly, it's just always going to be there. But you can win battles. So you got to focus on one battle at a time with that anxiety, that fear, that worry that you're not going to be liked. That's it. Like, you battle by battle, one thing at a time. Try not to get overwhelmed. That's the point, to try. You're not going to win everyone, and that's okay too. Speak vulnerably. Another way you can deal with this. Say to people what's really going on, and how they deal with it isn't your issue. Start really speaking from your heart, Like let's say, somebody wants money from you. I don't want to give you money because it makes me feel used. And I don't want to have a relationship where I feel used and taken advantage of. That's why I don't want to give you money. And wow, you're going to feel their punch in the gut that you just gave them. But that's how you feel. And you are protecting the relationship with them by, one, being honest and not compromising yourself. And if they have an issue with it, that's their thing. And like I said, you'll feel it. You'll feel their interpretation of you. But you can win those battles with your own vulnerability. They can't argue that. There's no argument to that. It's like, well, that's how I feel. Avoiding conflict is a huge go-to for the pleaser. And my husband, Scott, he's always like, oh, you're just kicking the can down the road. Because, I'm a big avoid the conflict person. But it pops up later, and then it's worse. So when you start to get self-aware and you see that you're doing it, like, oh, I'm kicking the can down the road, I'm not dealing with this, as it's coming up, it's best to just deal with it that flippin' day, okay? As uncomfortable as it can be, it will feel better. And here's the thing. That's a huge thing to notice with this feeling of freedom. There will come a time when you're able to feel the distinction between feeling bad about something that you said no about and also good about it at the same time. The bad about it is your programming and your ego. And the good about it is your soul being like, oh my God, thank you. It's a weird thing to describe. You feel terrible that someone doesn't like you, but you also feel so free from their control. And this is because you didn't betray yourself and your soul is saying thank you. I hope that makes sense. It's like a good, bad feeling, which is actually a really good feeling. Sometimes we have bad feelings. That's different. Good, bad. Like when you say, you know what? I'm not lending you that money. And you feel really bad because that's them. But you also feel really amazing. You're like, now I don't compromise my own financial situation. This is great. Anxiety it's inevitable. I think a lot of us are like, oh yeah, my pal anxiety. Especially when you are dealing with, the source of it, which is usually family. Okay. So there is a special people pleasing section of this when it comes to family members. This is really hard. It's really hard to disappoint somebody who basically fed you and raised you and made sure you weren't eaten by wolves or starved or died by exposure. They were really truly there for you. But what is it with us people pleasers? We're still thankful for that. It's true. And I'll tell you that maybe I'm talking about just myself. I think a lot of you can relate to this. It's like there's something okay, so I survived. So I should forever, the rest of my life, I should just give anything they want, I should give them, And I think that that's really screwed up because I have kids now and I don't I did all those things for them, keeping them alive and I had them as helpless infants and all that. And I would never, that's my privilege. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. I'm the one that's thankful, that I got to, they don't owe me a thing for that. I would never want them to compromise who they are because of that. But why do I feel that way? It's something that a lot of people pleasers, a lot of people who are raised a certain way, have to come to terms with. And I need you to see it in a different way. The problem is with family, you can shut down completely. You can just be completely paralyzed when you're put in a position of either being a people pleaser or just blowing things up. You will just sit there and just let it happen. You can completely shut down. This is harder because depending on the level of abuse you suffered, you may not be able to face it head on anymore or in person, and that is okay. There are other ways to tell someone no, or let them know what your boundaries are, or let them know what you will or will not be doing. You don't have to do that in person. You can write letters, you can send an email, okay? You can communicate in other ways which won't compromise your own integrity. Okay, you don't have to lie, you don't have to avoid it, you can be honest, but you also have a firm boundary. So I just want to put that out there for those of you who have family issues, that it's like way too triggering for you to deal with this in person, okay? Because I think, I don't know, I get a lot of people who suffered a lot of abuse, trauma, and they still show up at Christmas, you know, and it's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do it. But I know you feel sick if you don't, and you feel awful, and you feel worthless, and you feel all these things, but I just want to give that little permission to you in case you don't have that yourself right now. Be your own best friend. And this is how I'll end it. I don't know how else to say this except my grandmother, and I've said this before, and maybe this is dark, but this is what she used to say to me. Because for me, it wasn't dark. For me, it was very empowering. No, we are Irish Catholics, so that could be like a cultural thing too. But here I go. She would say, at the end of the day, we are born alone and we die alone. Okay, and what she meant was, you have to be true to yourself, because you are the one at the end of the day who deals with the consequences. You and you alone. You're the only one dealing with these consequences. You're the only one dealing with when you said yes to something, you're the only one doing that work. Nobody else is. And man, I'll tell you, the people I read, the people I know in my own life who have become actually physically ill, sick, lying in hospital beds, alone, so overwhelmed with other people's stuff because they pleased others so much they disappeared within themselves. And who's with you when all this happens? Yourself. You're with you. You're the one lying there. Okay? At the end of the day, you are dealing with you. At the end of the day, you are in your own body. You're the one who has to face you. It's you and you. That's it. And you have to remember that you are here to do great work. I need you to know that you are here to do great, important work. You have a soul contract, and it needs to be carried out. Your angels, they want you to do that. God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you're here to do something. Amazing things your soul cries out at you to do. And if you are wasting time on feeling like you don't fit in, on feeling like you have to be liked by people that don't even matter in the grand scheme of things in order to survive, I mean, that affects you. That affects your mind-body-spirit connection. That affects your mission. So please, if you get nothing else out of this today, I want you to remember that you are worth the time you spend on you. You are allowed to say no, and you are allowed to feel their feelings about it, which are probably not going to be super happy all the time. And that's okay. Your ego is the one taking that hit. Your ego is the one that's taking the hit of, oh, people don't like you. That's your ego taking it. Your ego can take that hit. It's okay. Your soul is the one that's going to thank you for it. And your soul counts the most.
All right. So after hearing that, I can definitely confirm I'm not a people pleaser.
All right.
And as I suspected, a lot of the Miss Michaela's spiritual family members are. Mm-hmm. So what we decided to do is to get their stories.
Okay.
So you put up a post and you wrote, tell us about a time you said yes to something you really didn't want to do, and that got you into a weird/bad/awkward predicament. This is for the podcast. I'm talking about people pleasing.
People pleasing.
Right,
okay.
So what'd you get?
So the first one was from Kelly.
Okay.
Kelly C. So she says, a guy I'd been dating for a few months asked me if I had feelings for him right before we both went home for the summer from college. I said yes, because I didn't want to hurt him. And that summer, he ended up driving 17 hours to come see me. And I didn't have the heart to break up with him then. When I finally saw him again at a university summer event, I told him the truth, and he had to drive 12 hours home by himself crying.
Wow.
That's hard.
So that's a total of like 47 hours of driving.
It's so hard. I think it is hard for people pleasers. We didn't even get into this, but it's like to break up with people.
Yeah.
You know, the whole it's not you, it's me. Or how long have you stayed in a relationship because you didn't want to just say no or sorry or I don't want that to happen. And then it turns into like such a fiasco.
Right. Well, I mean, the good news is he became a truck driver, and he changed careers because he realized how much he loved to drive.
He loved the road.
Yes, he loved the road. And he would just cry himself the whole trip. All right. All right, I'll read one.
Okay.
All right, so this is from Christy. She wrote, I signed a lease when I lived in Florida. First mistake right there.
Yes.
That was supposed to be 1 year because I wanted to go back home to California. I knew my time was up in Florida, as we all do.
We all get to that point here. Eventually.
We're living this. The night the lease had to be signed, it was super late, pouring rain, and I had a feeling something was off.
Ooh.
Okay, that rain will always do it to you.
Yeah. Ominous,
yeah. My boyfriend at the time had been out of the other house we were renting in a couple of days. I will never forget. I looked through the lease and see 2-year lease. Ooh, so a 2-year instead of a 1.
Oh, tricky.
I called my mom sobbing, crying, saying, I don't want to be here that long. None of us do.
I feel you.
I felt so much pressure to sign it that I did.
Oh, okay.
What followed was the worst 2 years of my life that included my now ex-boyfriend cheating on me with multiple women.
South Florida.
She's a South Florida purple.
South Florida purple.
Me getting anonymous letters in the mail.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
from his South Florida purple girlfriends?
I don't know. Maybe just the Florida mail service.
Okay.
We're just mocking Florida.
No, we're just...
And block calls confirming this. My ex-son stealing my jewelry and pawning it.
Oh, her ex-stepson?
Her ex...
Something like that?
Her ex's son, yeah. Her
ex's son.
Her ex's son.
My ex-son. Scott.
It's late in the show.
Okay, so her ex's son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was stealing jewelry,
really...
pawning it, her thinking she was losing her mind.
Oh, this is...
Kicking him out only for him to come back a few months later because he was living in his car.
Florida, I'm telling you.
Man, loads of therapy. 2 hurricanes.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
This is horrible.
Where we had to evacuate. The worst mental abuse I could ever imagine.
That sucks.
And
That's not good.
And a whole lot more. I finally had to call my dad and ask him to help me leave before the 2 years was up. I couldn't take it anymore.
That's about South Florida.
That
really.
Sounds incredibly South Florida.
What do we learn from this, people? Don't sign 2-year leases in South Florida.
Right.
And honestly, I can see why they make you stay. It's awful. Oh, man, I'm so sorry about that. I have one from Holly L., one of our admins on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family page, actually. She says, one time a friend begged me to watch her dog. I was 22 and just moved into an apartment with my boyfriend. I was dating. Now, that's her husband. Our apartment complex didn't allow dogs, but my friend was desperate. Her puppy came, and he was wildly untrained. He ate the carpet, ate our couch, barked incessantly on day 1. I cried the entire first day he was here. It stressed me out so bad, and I was worried we were going to be evicted. So we paid for a week for him to go to the nicest pet boarding center. It was so expensive, and like a spa for dogs. It was nicer than where we would ever stay in because I felt so guilty. Adam, my husband, said I have a problem telling people no when they need help.
Yeah, and I've met Adam. I think he's a red blue like me.
Yes.
And Holly's what, indigo?
Yeah. She's like
indigo,
blue to go.
Blue to go, yeah. So that makes sense.
That sounds about right.
That sounds right.
I love it. Like, I so get this, especially when you're 22. Like, now I'm sure Holly, like, you know, many kids later, she's like, yeah, no. Yeah. You know, but like, I get it. Like, when you're 22, you're like, well, I could get evicted, but okay. You know, because that's where we're at. I get that.
Oh, and she did write that she did obtain 3 containers of MIR. So
that's good.
From that was good. So that's a positive. I like to put positive spins on these
Positive spin. That's a great spin.
MIR. Okay.
Last one. All right, KCM. Okay, so this is what she writes. Okay, so I've had many of these moments. The weirdest / most awkward one was a few years ago when I was doing online dating. Oh, I love dating stories. These are great. I had gotten lunch with this girl one day and all seemed fine. A few days later, she asked me out to a bar one night. Everything was okay, and when I was going to leave, she got into my car with me. She's like, do you want to drink in your car? Or go back to your place?
Okay.
I really wanted to do neither, but before I could answer, she's like, we can just go back to your apartment. So we went back there and watched TV for a bit, and she kept saying how she couldn't stay because she had to be up early for her kids. In my head, I'm like, great, because I just want to go to bed alone. she then is like, I'll just sleep here for a little bit, and then you can take me back. Wow. Oh. We go to sleep, but then she wakes me up sporadically through the night talking. In the morning, she tells me she has psychosis and how she has a bite stick so she doesn't bite people.
Okay.
I could not get out of there quick enough to drop her off, and I never saw her again. She tried to text me once, but I ghosted her, and I did not feel bad about it.
So, and this was from a date from online?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she might need to read the article that came out in Elle magazine.
Yeah, by Rachel Kona. Yeah, that's funny.
Interesting about this biting. Did she get bit in the night? Did she
I
write
guess
about
she
that?
didn't get bit.
Oh, she didn't get bit.
But the lady was talking a lot, and then woke up and said that she has a biting people problem.
Oh.
But, like, you know, it all started when the chick got in her car, and it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, no, I'm done tonight. Because, like, you know, and I get it, because we've all been there, like, oh, okay. Like, you just keep going along with it until, you know, you end up in bed with a biter.
Okay.
Scary stuff, man. Thank you guys so much. And the rest of these are, like, amazing. You have to go to the page and read through these. They're very inspiring. And I feel like a lot of times when you say yes to something you should have said no to, there's like a lot of shame that goes along with it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so silly or foolish or I shouldn't have. But these stories help you realize, honestly, a lot of us do the same thing. So you can remember them and be inspired next time when you're feeling awkward saying no. You remember these stories and you'll just be like, no, absolutely not. No, thank you. It'll help you.
I am not playing Jumanji with you tonight.
We're not doing that.
No Jumanji tonight.
Thank you guys so much. You know, this podcast is for you and about you, and I'm so thankful you spent some time with us today. Take care.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies, and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.